allegiance to the Lamb. With all my strength, with all I am, I will seek to honor His commands. I pledge allegiance to the Lamb.
I have heard how Christians long ago were brought before a tyrant's throne. They were told that He would spare their lives if they would renounce the name of Christ. And one by one they chose to die. The Lamb of God they would not deny. Like a great angelic choir sings, I can almost hear their voices ring. I pledge allegiance to the Lamb. With all my strength, with all I am, I will seek to honor His commands. I pledge allegiance to the Lamb. Now the years have come and the years have gone, but the cause of Jesus still goes on. Now the time has come to count the cost, to reject this world, to embrace the cross. And one by one, let us live our lives for the one who died to give us life, till the trumpet sounds on the final day. Let us proudly stand and boldly say, I pledge allegiance to the Lamb. With all my strength, with all I am, I will seek to honor His commands. I pledge allegiance to the Lamb, to the Lamb of God who bore my pain. He took my place, He wore my shame. I will seek to honor His commands. I pledge allegiance to the Lamb. I pledge allegiance to the Lamb. With all my strength, with all I am, I will seek to honor His commands. I pledge allegiance to the Lamb. I pledge allegiance to the Lamb. With all my strength, with all I am, I will seek to honor His commands. I pledge allegiance to the Lamb.
Brother Bill knew this or not, but when I was a teenager, the very first Christian concert I ever went to was to see Carmen in Memphis. And that was the first Christian album I ever owned. And on that album, my favorite song was I Pledge Allegiance to the Lamb. So thank you. I really enjoyed that. My title for my message tonight is Life is About Opportunities. As many of you know, this is the first opportunity I've had to be up here behind the pulpit. And if you haven't realized this, I'm pretty terrified right now. You're very lovely people, but if I just run off stage or something real quick, just think it's the Spirit of the Lord guiding me, okay? I believe that everything happens for a reason. I believe that I'm up here tonight for a reason. And so I'm just trying to trust God for Him to guide me and direct me through this. So some of you may be wondering, well, if this guy is so scared to death, why in the world is he up here doing this? Why are we the unfortunate ones that have to listen to him? But really, it all boils down to this. That man back there in the corner, Brother Bill, you can blame him. That's why I'm up here tonight. And I've known Brother Bill for several years now. Got to work with Brother Bill. It's been a real pleasure. And Brother Bill is really, really good at presenting people with opportunities. And basically that means more work with little to no pay. But, I have been the direct recipient of many of these opportunities. Some have been wonderful, some not so much, but I've had many positive experiences due to his opportunities. So when Brother Bill first came to me, it was a night, I think either Ty or Jacob was giving a message. That's been a while back. And he just kind of patted me on the shoulder and said, "So when are you going to get up there?" And I looked at him and I said, "Well, sometime maybe." And I quickly got out of there. Quickly left the scene because I didn't want to go any farther than that. And so a few weeks ago, he approached me and he didn't quite give me the same opportunity to get out of there. He said, "Hey, I've got some dates I need to fill. Which one do you want?" So at that point, I didn't feel like I had the choice to say, "Well, I don't want any of those." I could have said that, but I thought everything happens for a reason. This is an opportunity is being presented, and I should take hold of that. And so that's what I did, and that's why I'm here. And so when I thought about this opportunity tonight and why I'm up here, I thought about, well, what if I didn't grab a hold of this opportunity? What would I have missed? Maybe what would you have missed? And then I started thinking about other opportunities. And what other opportunities have I not grabbed a hold of that I should have? And so then I started thinking, well, what about biblically? What people in the Bible have had opportunities given to them, and how have they handled those opportunities? How have they acted upon them? And so the more I began studying biblical characters and how they dealt with their things, I kind of came to a conclusion. I decided that there are basically three different types of opportunities out there. Opportunities that are presented to you, opportunities that are disguised, and then opportunities that you create on your own. So the first thing I want to talk about tonight is opportunities presented. So basically, this is where someone says, "Hey, I need you to do this," okay? Which is what Brother Bill has given me a lot of. So if you'll go with me to Exodus chapter 3, this is verse 9 and 10. I'll give you just a minute to get there. Many of you know this story very well. Probably don't even need to flip here. But this is where God says, "Moses, I need you to do something." So in verse 9 it says, "Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is coming to me, and I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppress them. Come now therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people to the children of Israel out of Egypt. And so you see, God simply said, Moses, there is a need, and I need you to do this. Opportunity presented. And Moses, if you continue reading through there, Moses responds in a couple different ways. First off, he says, who am I? Who am I to be worthy to do this? And then he says, they're not going to believe me. And then he goes, almost another excuse, and says, I'm not a good speaker. And I can level with that. That's something I've always struggled with. But we see at each of those questions that he gives, God has an answer. Okay? He tells them who he is. He says, you are my chosen one. He says, they're going to believe you because I have your back. And he says, you're not a good speaker? Well, I'm going to send Aaron with you. And Aaron is going to do the speaking for you. So, even when it may not make sense, or it's out of our comfort zone, which this definitely is for me tonight, we should always step out on faith because the Lord is in control and He's going to help us succeed. And we can see that clearly in this example. So then we're going to go to opportunities disguised. So, opportunities disguised, basically, many things happen to us throughout our lives. And a lot of these things may not seem like the greatest things that are going on at that time. But there are always people who can be blessed even in our struggles. I wasn't going to talk about this tonight, but whenever I was a senior in high school, my mom was diagnosed with cancer, and she had a tumor that was wrapped all the way around her spinal cord. It was a pretty scary time. And during that time, doctors really said, they don't know that they can get all this out without paralyzing her or maybe even worse. And so, like I said, it was pretty scary. But through that, my mom really, really grew in Christ. And she came out of that and she was on fire. I mean, she was ready to lead and teach and do anything she needed to do. And that really got me more involved in church and really helped me out. And so, biblically, we can go to the book of Job. And in the book of Job, if you look at chapter 1, 21 through 22, Job endured a lot. I mean, if you read through there, very righteous man, had been blessed thoroughly, and then all of a sudden, he basically loses everything. Begins with losing his animals, lost his servants, and then loses his children. And in chapter 1, verse 21 through 22, he says, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. And if you continue reading, you can see, Satan wasn't done. And he made these boils and these blisters appear all over his body. And then his friends kind of rebuked him, saying that all this was his fault, that he must have sinned. And through all that, Job still stayed loyal to God. And we know that in the end, he was rewarded for his endurance and was greatly blessed, doubling what he had in the beginning, just for going through this. Although all through the suffering that Job experienced, all this wasn't pleasant, but his actions and his response to this adversity allowed him to be blessed and others to be blessed. The third opportunity I want to talk about are opportunities that are created. And basically, no one's asked you to do this. This is not something that has just happened to you, but you see a need and you dive in. There's a very good example of this over in 1 Samuel 17. And you see David. And we know the story. You know, he was the shepherd taking care of his father's sheep. And his father came to him and says, I need you to take this food to your brothers. And they're serving on the front line in the army. And we know Goliath. And for 40 days he comes forth, standing tall, confident, challenging anyone to come forward and fight him. And if they won, the war's over. And if not, then the Israelites would have been slaves. But everybody was scared. All of these grown men were scared to death. And David shows up, presents his food to his brothers, and he wants to know what is going on. And he sees a need. He sees, hey, everybody else is scared, but this is an opportunity. Okay? No one had to ask him to fight the giant. In chapter 17, verse 37, David said, Moreover, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of the Philistine. And Saul said unto David, Go, and the Lord be with thee. So he knew that God was on his side. He had been there before, and he trusted, he saw the need, and he knew that God would help him to be successful. So as you can see, there are many types of opportunities. Some are presented, some are disguised, some you can create on your own. But it doesn't matter what type of opportunity comes your way. It only matters how you handle it and how you open yourself up and grab onto it. How you trust in the Lord to guide and direct you through it. I'm going to have you flip one more time over to Matthew 5, 14 through 16. This is probably my favorite verse in the Bible. And I think this kind of puts it all into perspective. In verse 14, it says, Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father, which is in heaven. There are opportunities everywhere. They are all around us. There are opportunities right here within this church. There are opportunities in our communities, in our workplaces. And I feel like it is our Christian duty that we act on these opportunities. I have been very thankful this week, very nervous this week about getting up here. But I saw an opportunity, I was presented an opportunity, and I felt like it was my duty to do this. You know, I tell my kids back in children's church all the time, you know, the adults want to see you guys. They want to see you up on stage. They want to see you doing things within the church. And I don't know how I'm supposed to tell them the importance of that if I don't take part in some of those things myself. You know, Brother David Dodd does an awesome job in the mornings getting the kids up here. And I've sat there on that pew many a times thinking, you know, I should get up there and help him. I should get up there and be an example. And yet I keep sitting right there in that pew. And I know I'm not the only one that has felt a need to do something and has not done it. But at the same time, we all need to get better in that aspect. Jesus, our God, deserves better than what we're giving him. And I appreciate y'all enduring this tonight. I realize I'm probably way short on time now that I've gone through this. But that's okay. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Brother David.